because we can have a debate about that, is, this pseudo-religious, we can't do this, we can't do that, and we certainly can't have our women and men take their clothes off and go hump everybody in front of the camera. And if they do that, they're lost to us. And if they're mistreated, then that's what if they're on the pole and they're mistreated, they're not supposed to be on the pole.
Right.
And Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton are not going to come out just because somebody called me a nigger on set. That's not going to happen.
Right. But you're saying there's some personal responsibility for being involved in the first place.
Oh, absolutely.
Gotcha.
I've known women who have taken these gigs, and I'll speak to ghetto gaggers in particular. I haven't done it. Many of my friends have. They fly them out to New York. They pay them very well. They treat them very well. They actually feed them so that they can puke.
Wow.
They feed them this great dinner.
But why are you blaming the women for this? Why aren't you blaming the men who make it and the men
I don't think I'm
it?
blaming the women, sweetheart.
Yes, but you said something about they should take responsibility for this.
Well, they do have some level of responsibility.
Everyone has. This is what's wonderful about being in porn. You will get a call and they'll say, "Hey, we want to cut off your arm in the scene," and you have a choice whether to show up or not that day. You have an absolute choice whether to do that.
Yeah, but
there's girls who only do masturbation scenes. There's girls who only do with other girls.
Yes,
there's girls who
it's complicated.
Yes.
You don't know what the life situation is of that woman. If she needs the money,
She does have a point.
I think I do more than you do
I'm saying
because
you
I
don't
shoot
know of each
hundreds of
specific
these women. I shoot hundreds of these women, and so for instance, do you know what the average price of a scene is?
No, how
Something
much
like
is the average?
$800, isn't it?
Yes, I shot a girl for $200. Okay, this particular company called me one day that I worked for, that I shot for, and said, "Hey, we got this girl, she, we need to shoot her right now because she's cheap and because this particular company, that's what they like. They like to get over on women that way. So can you get a location? Can you get this? Can you get that? Fine, whatever." And I go and I shoot the girl, and usually when you get a girl that's less than the going rate, she's not, you get what you pay for, if you know what I mean. This particular girl was wonderful. She did a great scene and all this and all that. And I had checked with her before, and I said, "Are you okay with the rate?" She goes, "No, it's fine, it's fine." After the scene, she thanked me, hugged me, all of this stuff, because she was so happy because it was her 4-year-old son's birthday, and she was going to use that money to take him to Disney.
Well, don't you think that's
and
sad?
she was
That's
so
not something to be celebrated. That's
and
not
she
something
was
to
so
be celebrated.
happy that
That's sad that this woman has to put herself in that position.
She didn't have
and
to.
No, she has to earn money. She has to keep her
She can
child
do whatever
afloat.
she wants to do.
No, but you can't. We've got a recession. It's very hard for women,
This
and
was
especially
actually
women
4
of
years
colour,
ago.
to find good jobs. So you're talking about the economic inequalities between women and men, and especially with women of colour. And I think we need to talk about that if we're going to talk about why women end up in pornography. This is not about, and you must know this is not about women loving their bodies and women loving sex. It's much more complicated how you end up there. And I think unless we really look at the social structure that pushes certain groups into there, these are not women often who have options to do other things to make a living in a decent way. And that's why I think it's an unfair society that we live in, and these women are paying the price for it.
Gail, and you know what? I agree with a lot of what you're saying, but I wouldn't say that this is the only way. Because, this is one of the ways. Because I don't want to go absolute here.
No, of course, but you don't know what the circumstances. I've interviewed many women in pornography who told me that they had to do it because of their pimps wouldn't let them get out of it. I mean, we've not even talked about the whole issue of the pimps. When I was at Adult Video...
So wait a minute, Gail.
Can I say one thing?
Gail, and my guest here, this is getting hot. It's getting heated. I love it. I gotta take a quick break. Gail, stay with me, because I'm coming back to you. I got some more to ask you about your book. Okay. I love your angle. I love your perspective. Please continue with this information. Don't leave me. I'm taking a break. The pros and cons, peaks and pitfalls of adult film star relationships and their industry's effect on yours and mine. Somebody call me in a minute. 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. I'll be right back. Peace. 877-2-106-106 is the number to dial. I got callers. I'm going to get to you guys. I know you guys want to chime, but this topic is crazy. The pros and cons, peaks and pitfalls of adult film star relationships and their industry's impact on yours and mine. We're on the phone right now with author of Pornland, How Pornography Has Hijacked Our Sexuality. Gail Dines is the author. And we also have adult film stars Diana DeVoe and John E. Depth in the building right now. And the topic is crazy. Let's just go into this really quickly. The term pornography is made of two Greek words. Porno, porne being one, which means prostitute, whore. and graphy, which literally means the writings or musings or etchings or illustration, you know, when you put the two words together, it's the illustration of prostitutes. But, I mean, this is the business. This is the game. They're the small screen version, television version of whores out on the street. Now, who's the pimp in the game?
Well, you talking about one of the oldest professions in the world.
But who is the pimp of the porn business? Because I think you and Gail Dines have a meeting ground right here, because somebody is perpetuating racial stereotypes through these films. Like you said, misogynistic stereotypes through these films, hatred of women through these films, abuse of women through these films. I mean, Gail, talk to me here. What is the purpose of your book, and tell me what it illustrates as it relates to the points I just brought up.
Well, the purpose of the book was to really raise consciousness as to what's going on in the porn industry today, because many people I lecture to, and I lecture across the country, have got an outdated image of pornography. You know, they think of Playboy 10, 15 years ago. So I wanted to say to people that, look, this is the pornography that boys and young men are growing up with. The first age of viewing pornography is now about 11 years of age. Now, what does this mean? That a boy who is still developing his sexual identity, who doesn't even own his sexuality yet, doesn't know what it looks like, his first entrance into pornography, into sexuality, is pornography. You know, things like ghetto gaggers, because this is what you get when you put in porn into Google. So what I wanted to talk about was the effects on boys. I wanted to talk about what I hear from young men. We're talking about how the more pornography they use, the less ability they are to have intimate relationships with women. Some of them, for the more porn they use, the less interested they are in having sex with a woman, because they feel that they've been masturbating to what I call industrial strength sex, and sex with a real human being looks very boring and bland compared to that. Other men want to play out porn sex on their girlfriends. They nag them, they cajole them, they manipulate them into playing those things out. Other men compare themselves to the men in pornography, and they haven't got Viagra-fortified penises. They don't feel like they can. They feel like a sexual loser. So what I wanted to do was to say that we've got to have a national discussion here about whether we want to bring up an entire generation of boys on hardcore pornography. And if we do, are we prepared for the consequences of this? Because it's going to be really difficult on our girls when they start dating these boys, because I can tell you over and over again I hear from young women about how men want to play this out on their bodies.
Wow, so this is what I want to do really quickly. I want to get examples from you. I want you to talk to me, give me some examples of what kind of imagery is out there that these young boys are now encountering and bringing into their lives as maybe this is how I engage sexually with a girl. As a matter of fact, Johnny Depp just talked about it. He said, earlier that a guy will watch a film and then go and try to, perform the same thing on his girl. So give me an example of films out there that you feel are the most detrimental.
Okay, well, let me give you what's very popular in pornography today is gagging women with a penis, gagging them to the point that they can often vomit. Now, I've just had a student of mine who was just throat raped, basically. He gagged her till she vomited, and 10 times she vomited, and each time she vomited, he got more and more aroused. So this is, where do you think he got that idea from to gag her? I talked about ATM. I want to talk about pounding anal sex to the degree that sometimes women in pornography industry get prolapsed anuses where they have to have them sewn up again. We're talking about ejaculating on the face, ejaculating in the eye. All of these are sex acts that are designed to debase and dehumanize the woman.
Can I say something, Doc?
Yes, go right ahead, brother.
You know what? I agree with everything you just said. I'm not even gonna fight you on that. But then I'm gonna shut it down with one word. And that word is choice. We all have it. You can choose to watch. You can choose not to watch. And as far as like going back to like young boys, what about parenting? Whatever happened to the parents? That's up to the parents.
You can't ask a parent to be with a kid all the time like this. You cannot ask a parent to breathe down a child's neck and watch them 24/7. There is some responsibility.
Okay, so what's the answer then? So where do they learn? So are they going to learn in school? They're going to learn in the streets?
Better they learn through sex education than they learn through pornography. At least they can learn some idea of what gender equality and what sexual respect looks like.
But
You think pornography is a good place to learn?
So let me just say this. Pornography isn't the only place where there's an imbalance between the genders.
No, of course not. Absolutely not. I would totally agree with that.
I mean, we live in a patriarchal society. At the end of the day, the